Oh man, I was jamming to the song.
Interrupted.
Dang. That was
I
my
like how
jam.
I don't put all three of us together. I'll like
They're just
in my
random.
mind I was like Jose was put first yesterday, the first week. I was like, let me just put Mike now.
There you go.
I don't disappoint.
Yeah.
Don't put the spotlight on me because we're gonna start.
It's hilarious.
Should we put the Mon Mothma music?
That's
Dude,
could be.
right? I bet
Could
she
be.
was needing a few drinks this last episode.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. But hey, what's going on? How are y'all?
Hi guys.
Hey, hey.
Are we Kenobi? Have we adjusted to the time difference?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I personally never really had a problem with the like time difference. I sleep like crap anyway, like just regularly. So I think my body was like, meh, 1 p.m., like 1 a.m., it's the same thing. Still feel like crap. So it's just powered through. The family did take a couple of days where they were waking up like at 1:30 in the morning, and they're like, all right, it's time to start the day. I'm like, no, it's not.
Nope.
I was like, y'all can go and try to find something to do because I'm about to go back to sleep for another like 6 hours. So yeah, a couple of days were kind of rough, especially on the kid. Of course, he was feeling it. Definitely not used to it or hasn't experienced it before. But no, we were okay for the most part. Last week, I'd say about the middle of the week, everybody was kind of back to our regularly scheduled, sleep patterns. Um, I'm older now. It was my birthday on Saturday.
Yes, it
Yeah,
was.
yeah. Almost died that day. I got food poisoning. That was fun. So yeah, that would
Welcome
have been
back
a
to
nice.
America.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, oh hey, remember everything sucks here. And so yeah, although it would have been a cool, headstone to be like born, May 3rd, died May 3rd. I'm just saying, there's poetry
That
right there. There's
that
there's
would be
symmetry.
pretty wild.
Yeah, exactly, right.
That's so sad.
Uh,
Because I would have worn your death the weekend of Star Wars, and it's like
that is true.
born
I would have
Jose, Star Wars. No, I'm just kidding. I'm
exactly.
born Jose.
Yeah, but give it a couple of years and then we'll talk. But yeah, it sucked because we had tickets to go watch Thunderbolts. Excuse me, New Avengers, thanks to
That's
the
right.
to the rebrand. Um, and so we get to the movie, right? And as soon as I sit down, I'm like, this is not going well. Like I don't feel right. Um, and so my wife was immediately alerted because I wasn't, scarfing down popcorn in like industrial quantities like I normally do. And she's like, "You okay?" I'm like, "You know what? I don't think I am." I was like, I don't feel great." And so, yeah. Anyway, super nauseous and stuff like that. I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna be right back. You guys stay here, keep watching the movie." And so I dipped, and I was like, "All right, I'm gonna need to throw up." I couldn't, which sucks because I hate that feeling of like your body knows, right? Like I knew consciously. I was like, I have to throw up, and I couldn't for the longest time. So I was just there frustrated. I was like, all right, you know what? Whatever. I get out, and the wife's there, and she's like, yeah, no, I I asked for the check and everything. Like, let's just go home. I was like, all right, I guess that's fair. I was like, I feel like crap. So we didn't watch the movie, or I watched like 10 minutes of the movie. Um, get in the car, and as soon as I pull out of the parking lot, I was like, I gotta stop, I gotta stop, I gotta stop. Like I got like 3 seconds, and sure enough, right off the side of the road. And then I felt great. I felt amazing. Like afterwards, I was like, "This is what I needed. Like I'm good now." And the wife's like, "No, you're not. Like let's just go home." I'm like, "Oh," I was like, "Fine." Anyway, um, I ended up going to sleep like at 9 p.m. on my birthday, so I'm pretty sad. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna call it a day. We'll try again next year. We'll see how it goes.
Try again next year.
Yeah,
Sucks.
yeah,
Roll
dude.
around next
So,
year, see what happens.
yeah, exactly. I was like, you know what? It was a good effort, but yeah, no, didn't quite pan out.
Actually, you're getting up there in age with me, so 9 p.m. might be the end of the party next year. Like
Dude,
we're
seriously,
getting,
and
we're
I
getting
was
kind of
so
old.
like stoked because my birthday hasn't fallen on an actual weekend in I don't, in years, right? Like several years, and it was Saturday this year, so I was like, dude, let's do this. It's gonna be awesome. It wasn't. It sucked. Um, but yeah, so I guess technically I survived, which is good. Um, but yeah, so May the 4th, We went to Big Mike's event here, Mike. You know what I'm
Big
talking
John.
about. Yeah, Big John. Sorry. He
I am
did
Big Mike.
a Force Con, a little event, that he put together with some vendors and some cosplayers and stuff like that. So I went and checked that out. It was pretty good. They had not that many vendors, but pretty much all of them were like Star Wars related. So there was a lot of figures, a lot of collectibles, and stuff like that. So I bought only a couple of things because I was like, I just got back from Japan. I'm still broke as hell. And so I did pick up a couple of figures. So I was there for about a couple hours or so, just hanging out with them. And then I was like, you know what? Let's try again. So we went to see Thunderbolts. At this time, I was like, all right, guys, nobody can get sick because I already paid twice for these dang tickets, So we're watching the movie. I'm not paying a third time, like without watching the movie. So everybody, if you gotta throw up, just do it to the guy next to you
In the
theater.
bucket.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like just we're not leaving this time. Watched it.
Popcorn, jalapenos, and throw up.
Exactly. Hey, when in Rome. But
Notice like
yeah.
No, because I don't do well with that stuff, but it's okay.
Yeah. Like the movie. The movie was actually pretty enjoyable. I liked
it was a very good movie.
Yeah. I actually liked it a lot more than I thought I was gonna.
If I don't see this film, would I be missing something out with the MCU timeline?
I don't think so, to be honest with you. I guess there's an important introduction, right, of a character in this movie. You could say he's the villain. I don't think he's exactly the villain, but he kind of is.
The main antagonist is what they call it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which he will be important coming up, in the next phase. To be honest, the what's it called? Oh my lord, I'm blanking out. The end credits scene is pretty good. It's pretty fun. But I already saw it on TikTok, so you could just like look it up if you don't want to watch the movie. And
if you don't want to spend money, just wait for it to come out on Disney because it'll be there probably in a month. Is it passable? Yes, you could pass it, be totally fine. I think.
Yeah.
Would I recommend passing it? No, because it's
actually
a pretty good movie.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I do recommend watching it. It, like I said, it was actually a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. Like I thought it was gonna be fun, right? I mean, Marvel movies tend to be fun, if nothing else. But this one actually had a little bit of heart, like I wasn't expecting it. So, yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, it had a really good message underneath a lot of like jabs and little comedy pokes here and there, but there was a really good message in there.
Very true. Very true.
And I think that's kind of the payoff to that character. So I recommend it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree. Whoa, let me shout out here. We got Will the Force with this super chat.
Oh, happy
Appreciate
birthday.
You, man.
Wait a minute. How did this happen? We're smarter than this. Apparently not.
Thank you, Will.
Dude, thank you so much. He says, happy birthday to General. How's it feel that Tony Gilroy made Andor 278 just for you? Exactly. I mean, and he called me. He's like, hey, man, you're going to like your birthday like present. I was like, oh, dude, I appreciate it. But, you didn't have to go. You're all, you delayed like a year the show just for me. But, hey, very much appreciated. Thank you a lot, Will. We really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
I honestly, like watching these 3 episodes, I wanted to text Jose so badly last night at like almost close to like 1 a.m. to be like, do you remember last week you said that the episodes kind of dragged? Well, what did you think about this week?
Yeah, this week was good. I mean, if we're gonna get into it, right? We'll get into it. But it's funny you say that because I was finishing up about 1 a.m, like watching the episodes. I didn't get to watch them, earlier. And I thought the same thing. I was gonna text you, and I was like, it's later for her. So I was we'll just talk about it like tomorrow.
I was up. I think I put like a sad emoji thing, and then I liked, I think, Mike's story, and then somebody else's story too.
Nice. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. But what do you say we catch up with the chat here real quick before we fully dive into it? So first and foremost, we got Ultra Card in the house. What's going on, man? Thanks so much for coming in. Appreciate you, man. We got the dad Vader pulling double duty. We got me and Neil does sending the same message, which, by the way, we need to check why that happens. Just FYI. We got Vicente in the house saying, hello, everyone. What's going on, man? We got Rolando, our multiverse moderator, in the house. Appreciate you joining as always, man. Thank you for always being super supportive. Really appreciate it. Ultra says, I even unboxed my Black Series Captain Rex on May the 4th, and he looks awesome. Good job, man. That's a good figure. That is definitely a good figure. Let's see. Vicente says, that doesn't sound like fun at all. Yeah, there you go. No, it was not. It was not.
Whoever enjoys puking on their birthday, you're sick.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the... I
Quite
guess
literally,
zone,
you are sick.
Holy smokes. Vicente says, my son's birthday was May the 4th. Spend most of the time watching various Star Wars movies and shows. That's awesome, dude. The funny thing is, I was born 10:40 p.m. And so I always tell my mom, like, you couldn't hold on like just an hour and a half more. Yeah, like that was it. That's all I asked. But no. Look who it is. We got Dewback Deliveries in the house saying, evening all. What's going on, man? Appreciate you, man. Jalapeno popcorn is awesome. It is.
I still have yet to try it.
Unless you're super nauseous. Then not so much.
Yeah.
Will the Force says 729. Yes, I got you. Let's see. Did you get the original Cam Shamrock Ultra? Martha saying hi. That's my mom. We got Tiara in the house. Crafting on Ilum saying, I couldn't sleep after this last arc. Oh, I bet. Ultra saying hi to Ilum. Rolando doing the same. And Rolando saying hi to everybody. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Yeah, should we go ahead and get started? I mean, there's a lot to talk about this week.
Spoilers coming up.
Exactly. So, guys, if you haven't seen the latest arc, two BBY, for Andor season 2, basically episodes 7 through 9 of season 2 again. Yeah, I would say you dip out for a little bit and then maybe catch the replay here, because we're about to go full on spoilers, discussion of all these 3 episodes, this whole arc, right? Okay, so you've been warned. Spoilers. 3, 2, 1. All right, that was fun. Those were some good episodes, some good writing. Yeah,
I would like to be paid services to go talk to a therapist after these past 3 episodes.
Yeah. Some of that stuff, I mean, let's be honest, some of that stuff we did see coming. We actually called it here last week, right? A lot of stuff. Not everything happened exactly like we said, but I think we did hit quite a few major points, right?
Yeah.
In the overall arc. So this arc, first of all, I'll be honest with you, if the show stops here, it's not. We still got one more arc, but if the show would have stopped here, I think Rogue One was, good. Like you understand a lot more about what Rogue One, is, and some of the characters, etc. Right? We got to see already quite a bit of connective tissue, right, to Rogue One in this arc, which is something that we discussed last week that at least me personally, I felt that we were already kind of lacking. I will say this, again, we are talking spoilers, all right? So K2SO, right? K2SO finally sort of kind of, right, shows up in the show. I mean, I'm glad because as I've said before, I've been wanting to see him for, well, obviously since season 1, right? It just didn't work out. But man, they took their sweet time. They took their sweet time putting in K2SO. We got like 7 seconds of him technically. This arc. I'm sure, or I'm hoping, we're gonna get a ton more, right, in the last 3 episodes. Which feels weird to say, by the way. We're down to the literally like last 3 episodes of Andor, like period, right? Like there's no more show. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It just started, right? which I'm sure they're gonna be great. So in my opinion, these 3 episodes um, had some really really good writing, some really really good dialogue, character development, right? There are a couple of things that I was kind of hoping they were gonna do different, um, and there's it not everything's perfect in my opinion, but man, was it a great story. Um, Obviously, very story driven. As I mentioned, we have some connective tissue to Rogue One, right? But we also got quite a bit of connective tissue to Rebels, right?
Heck yeah, we
Yeah.
do.
So that's always, of course, nice. And yeah, so we got right off the bat, right? I think it was literally like the first scene of this arc. We got Yavin 4. We got the base at Yavin 4.
It was so
Finally.
pretty.
Yeah,
So
right. That
pretty
was a
seeing them
great
fly
shot.
in.
Yes,
What I loved
finally
was
seeing.
they put Rebel.
Yeah,
They
Yes.
officially said Rebel.
Rebel.
exactly. Yeah,
it is not just Yavin base.
exactly.
Rebel base.
I thought I was looking at like a remastered version of like Return of the Jedi.
Oh, it looked great.
It
The
just
shot
looks
was
so
beautiful.
cool.
Yeah, the shot was beautiful. As I mentioned to you guys, finally we see a little bit of the military assets, right, of the rebellion. They keep bringing it up throughout this arc. It's like, hey, we're more of an army now, right? Like we're not just ones and twosies here and there that they don't even know about each other. As I told you before, me personally, I would have liked to see a little bit more of that jump, right? Because where we left off last week, they were still very much just like almost individual agents, right? Still working different missions. So me personally, I would have liked to see a little bit more of that jump, right? Like, how did we get a few of the rebel cells, together? How do we get, a few of the ships, like that kind of stuff? I understand they cannot cover everything, especially with the time jumps that they're doing. But again, me personally, I would have liked to see just a little bit more of that like process. So we jump
I was
into
spitballing off of that, those gaps that you're talking about.
yeah.
Disney is playing chess. We're playing checkers. Any possibility that there's going to be small mini series animated of like Andor the Lost Years, and that's where we find some of those stories.
I think if we see something like that, it'd probably be more in like a novel form.
Yeah.
That's just kind of my opinion. That's what Disney tends to do, filling those kind of gaps with books, right,
Novels.
or written stories.
Or a Lego game.
Yeah, right, exactly. Which I guess debatable, right, if some of them are actually canon or not. But yeah, so I do think eventually we will get more of those stories, like you said. But I just, again, being selfish, right, I just wanted to see them, right, like visually get a little bit of that. And we got some of that during Rebels, right, during the animated show. But I was like, man, it would be pretty cool to actually see it like live action, right, with the characters that we know now. So yeah, Andor is living in Yavin 4, which I thought was kind of cool, because we kind of see his progression within the rebellion as well, right? Like he's not, a covert ops guy anymore. He's pretty, yeah, exactly. Or about to be promoted captain. I forget exactly at the beginning. Because yeah, he's an important part now. He's, first of all, he's got his own house in Yavin. Like that's already like, hey, you're pretty important. If you're not sleeping on the ground like the rest of the grunts. He literally had like a secluded little 2-bedroom apartment in the middle of the jungle. So I was like, dude, you moved up in the world quite nicely.
They're like, you're sacrificing yourself for us, here you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly, right. Here you go. It comes with bug repellent, and enjoy, right? But so I did like to see that again, that kind of jump in both the rebellion and of course with Andor. And again, I loved seeing the rebel base. We got Oh man, I'm blanking out on the general's name now. Skinny white guy that's also on Rogue One, right? He's in
Oh,
charge of the base right now.
yeah.
Um, oh my lord, can't believe I'm blanking out on his name. Anyway,
General, that guy.
yes, exactly, General that white guy, who is again in Rogue One, and it's the same actor. So that already, I was like, dude, that's dope. Like, you know immediately who it is as soon as he comes out. You know,
I was like in the callbacks to like the OG, like you saw the rebel troop, like with the blue,
yeah,
the black, the
Yes.
helmet,
The big helmet.
seeing the X-wing. I'm trying to figure out because I saw the droid on there. I'm trying to figure out who that was. So
yeah.
maybe we can tie that and be like, oh snaps, that was one of the Red Squadron guys. Like that'd be dope to tie that to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was trying to see what kind of ships were on the ground, most of the time during those shots.
I do love that they did. I think it was either in the last episode they did mention Gold Leader.
They mentioned the Gold Squadron.
Yeah.
Because if you remember, those are the guys that get sent to pick up Mon Mothma, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the Rebels episode. Which again, this basically, so the Rebels episode happens like 5 minutes after this show, right? After this show's episode for this, or this last episode, right? For this week. So it ties in, immediately. We had some casualties, right? Too, throughout this arc, and some we kind of did, halfway predicted, but man, they did pretty good. So overall, right, and again, if you haven't seen the episodes, I highly do recommend that you pause the stream and go watch them. But I would say at the core of this arc is finally the Gorman massacre, right? Like it finally actually happens. The lead up and the fallout, right? Like after, of course, we see the actual massacre happening.
Genocide.
And yeah, and obviously some of the ramifications, right? Like coming off of that, which leads us into Mon Mothma's like open rebellion, right? Like statement, which hella good writing, by the way, and great acting on her behalf. Like that was nuts. But that's basically at the core of this arc, right? Is the Gorman massacre. We finally get to see it, and we finally have like an open rebellion, right? Like out there, like there's finally the Rebel Alliance type of thing, like finally operating the way we know it in Rogue One and of course in the original trilogy. So yeah, so we get what's his name? I am all blanking out on characters' names today, but the kid from Ferrix, right, whose dad was executed, right, during season 1, who's been an operative who we saw inhaling, jet fuel last arc, alongside Saw Gerrera. So he gets to Yavin 4. He gets to talk to Cassian and Biggs, right? Who again, they're living, I would say, pretty comfortably, right, in Yavin 4, about as comfortable as Yavin 4 gets. And he's like, "Hey, by the way, guys, Luthen has a job for you." And Cassian is visibly, right, like upset. He's like, "Not that guy again." So that was one of the things that also I saw quite a bit of progression, or quite a bit of a difference with the previous arc. Luthen is kind of like no longer, like the main I don't know what to call it, the main manager, right, for these guys.
Yeah. You can't call him like a villain or anything.
Yeah, I mean, he's serving a purpose, right? Or at least he thinks he is.
What do you call the guy in Dungeon and Dragon that like he has the card and like he's telling the story of everything? Like he's the one controlling a lot. What is that guy called?
I think it's actually called Dungeon Master. No, don't quote me on
Dungeon
that.
Master. Could be.
I'm not a D&D guy, but that sounds about right.
Yo, that's what he is. He's the guy that has been controlling everything, and now you're getting to like the pivotal point, and he's like, gonna go drink my Mountain Dew. I'll be back in a little bit.
Dude,
And just
exactly.
hands off completely.
Yeah, which is something that I was gonna say. That was a stark contrast, right? We've seen pretty much the whole show, right, up to now. And all of a sudden, he's kind of like, "Hey, would you guys mind, still doing a mission for me?"
Yeah.
And
Well,
they're like,
they all he knows that they're all upset with him.
"Oh yeah, I mean, he's definitely not out to make friends, that's for sure." Um, but I did think that was interesting because it almost seems like all of them, moved on, right? They're like, "Nah, man, we
Yeah.
got an actual military organization, right? That we are kind of like a part of now. So we're not just there you go. He's the keymaster. Ah,
Master.
nice. Yeah,
Are
Nice.
you
the
the key master? 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm the gatekeeper.
You're the gatekeeper. Yeah. And how do you call it? And they're all kind of like, hey man, we're already like part of this cool thing where we got troops and ships and we got an actual base and stuff.
We don't need you.
Yeah, exactly, right. They're like, we done with you, bro. Like we out. But it turns out that the mission is one good old, dominatrix, dead Ramiro, and it seems that she is just out wide in the open, right? And for prime for taken off the board by the rebels. She's in Gorman, right? Obviously leading up to the culmination of their plan for years, right? At this point.
Yeah.
And so Andor is like, dang it, man. Like I didn't want to take on this mission, but
It's too
she is
spicy.
the one who
I got to.
exactly. She's the one who basically brought down Ferrex, right? She killed this dude's dad.
She's behind the torture of Biggs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She's very much
Like, there's a whole big old thing.
there's a whole
can of
there's a
worms right
whole
there that
bag
he's
of
like,
yeah.
But can I just say that I love her?
yeah.
The
Even as the horrible villain in the show, like I was telling somebody about this. Like, never have I once like really disliked a character. Like the
Yeah.
actor's great, awesome job, but the character
Yeah.
itself, I despise. I don't like him at all. But watching these episodes, I'm now like instantly flipped to where like I'm like, oh no, I
Yeah.
don't want her to hurt.
I know. And she gets hurt.
I was sobbing for her last night, like
Yeah.
booger sobbing, to the point that like I told Flex this morning, I wrote literally 2 pages of like how much I love this character, because if
Nice.
I do go to meet Denise,
Hell yeah.
I want to tell her this face to face. Like I want to literally read to her like I'm in high school.
Absolutely. Yeah, you should. Why not? I mean,
No, she's done an outstanding job, and I don't know if
Yeah.
she's getting the credit. I saw an interview where they were like talking about like her frown, because she's got like the worst, and excuse me, they call it the resting bee face. But
Yeah.
I
she's got
love
like
it.
she's got like the worst one ever, and she was like, my mom told me to smile more because like people don't want to see that. And she's like wanting to text her mom and be like, well, who's laughing
Well,
now?
yeah,
'Cause she
exactly.
made it- she's like it
Look
is
where it
just
got
pure
me.
evil on her face. Yeah.
She is like the supreme of resting bitch face. I love it. When she did smile in some of these episodes, it actually creeped me out.
I was gonna say, I was like, no.
And then when
Yeah.
I see her
I
like
don't
at
like that.
and then when I saw her at Celebration, like discussing about the show and then like laughing, I'm like, no, please go back to being mean.
Yeah. I was like, nope, I don't like this. This is unsettling.
Who are you?
Yeah, exactly. But so I did like the sort of like a little bit of the callback to the previous arc when for example when Andor checks into the hotel, right? The bellboy, right, was the one up front in the
You got that promotion.
exactly, right? And he immediately recognizes
Yeah.
Andor, right? Like I think I'm not sure. That was a little bit ambiguous, the scene. Like I don't know if Andor like immediately recognized him too. I kind of felt that it took him a little bit more, like after the dude was like dropping hints like, you got until tomorrow until we have to report you and all that stuff, like trying to be super obvious. And I think
Yeah.
that's when Andor was like, oh dude, yeah, like we've talked before.
I think that played well to his character too, because if you remember from that previous arc, he goes under a false name of
Yeah.
completely false identity. And in the spy game, you would think like their mind is like not saying that their mind's erased, but they themselves are just like, I don't need this important information. Delete.
Yeah,
Like I don't need to
exactly.
remember that. Like I'm
Yeah,
on to the next mission. So I think that played really well into the character of Andor of like him not immediately being like, oh yeah, you're the one that told me about that last massacre, right? Like
exactly. Yeah, yeah, very much so. And so we see pretty much everything bottling up, right, to the events of the Gorman massacre. Andor is in Gorman.
Mhm.
Um, so is the kid again from Ferrex. He has been working with the Gorman resistance, right, to sort of get him ready. But then, and I think, yeah, then we get to poor old Cyril, right? Which, wow,
I don't want to
they
talk about it.
they did my man dirty. Uh,
I
so
love how everybody, real quick, I love how everybody thought that the scene where she's
yeah.
gripping herself, they thought it was like Vader or something force
Oh yeah,
stroking.
yeah.
And I'm
Nope.
watching it like crying, going, this is why she was grabbing her
Yeah,
throat.
exactly. Which don't get me wrong. I mean, Vader would have been pretty cool too, but my man Cyril got to shine in this arc.
Yeah.
So previously, Cyril had been working with the ISB, right? Of course, helping Deidre to sort of infiltrate the Gorman resistance, right? In this arc, however, we learned that he didn't really know, right, the full scope of the assignment. Um, he didn't really know that all of it was to incite the rebels, right, to do something, to give the Empire an excuse, right, to basically clean house and take over the planet.
Mhm.
So, um, so yeah, he was not happy about that, right, when he started putting the pieces together with both the information that he had gathered and basically, Deidre dodging his questions, right? Um,
now
yeah, so
she knew like most of it, right? But do you think that like she was also played as well? Like
Oh, 1000%.
right? Like she's
you
not
know,
like, oh, 100% they got my back. She's also like playing that, oh yeah, we're going to be rewarded, but that's what she believes. It's not what's been told. Like, like she's false pretense like, oh, if I do this, they're going to cover me. They got my back. And I don't think that's going to be the case at all. Like it was a success. The campaign was a success that we learned. They got what they wanted out of it, but what's going to happen to her in the next, 3 episodes? And I think that's really going to be the telltale of
yeah,
how dirty the
and
empire is.
and it's funny you say that because I honestly thought they were going to double cross her in this arc. Like, Partagas was just blowing her up too much for
Oh,
my
he was
Yep.
taste, right?
gaslighting her big
Yeah,
time.
exactly, right? Like, oh, you're
To
doing
the
awesome. The Emperor
yeah.
knows about you. Krennic knows about you. Like, he even said, right? Like, you're on the rise to a promotion. Blah blah. Like, he's just blowing her up.
And because Krennic was talking to her so much, the
Exactly,
gaslighting seemed like it was actual
legit, right?
100% a legit fact.
Exactly. And so, to your point, yes, absolutely. I think she was meant to think she knew the whole plan, right? Um, Even then, of course, she wasn't happy about it. Like she knew what things were leading up to, right? Exactly how it was going to happen. I don't think she had it, like play by play, right? Like exactly this is what we're going to do. But the end game, I think, she was aware of, right?
Like she even
Um,
said, like the mining equipment showed up. Like she was questioning that, like, why did that stuff already show up?
yeah,
Like she was questioning that.
exactly.
So
I took it as why would you send it now, right? Like why
yeah,
we're not done 100%. Like why would you start, inciting people? But again, I kind of feel that that was actually the breaking point, right? Like when the rebels are like, dude, they're not even hiding their plan anymore. Like
yeah,
they want
straight up.
stuff from our, soil. They want stuff that's in the earth. That's what they've been working us up to. And to be honest, though, they still played right into their plans, right? Like right into their trap, which is something I thought was cool to see the mayor, president. I don't know what he is anymore. The old man, right? That was part of the resistance. or he was kind of like the leader, right, basically of the resistance up to last arc. And now he was the one saying, guys, we got to pump the brakes. Like, we cannot, just go out there and get, into a shooting match with these dudes. Like, that's exactly what they want. And everybody was like, bro, what are you talking about? But that's exactly what we've been working
Yeah.
for all these
This
years.
is
Right?
our
Like,
time. It's
exactly,
time to go
like,
down. He's like,
we've
whoa,
been
whoa, whoa.
recruiting. Yeah, we've been recruiting. We've been, stealing weapon shipments. Like, we've been doing all this literally so we can physically fight back, right? And now you're telling us like not to.
Sometimes it's wise to listen to older people.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And
They
then,
have experience.
yeah. And then he even goes and tries to talk to his daughter, right? Who's still in the resistance. And even her, she's like, nah, we're done, man. Like, we're done talking. Like, we gotta act. And he's like, it's a trap. It's literally a trap. Like, look at it. Like, physically, they're funneling us like
There's
into
no way
this,
out of
like,
this circle.
yeah, exactly. They're literally funneling us into a kill box right here. Like, you can't see that. And sure enough, right, that's exactly what happens. So
What about the complete devastation? I think we're getting ready to talk about that. When you figure out your entire life is just a lie.
yeah. So I guess getting back to Cyril, right?
Yeah.
His eyes are finally open. He sees that his mission was never to uncover the, what is he call it, the outside operatives, right, in Gore. It was literally to, again, to help them gain strength to be a like be an actual threat, right? That they could sell to the news, right? They'd be like, do you see these guys? These guys have weapons. These guys are, they're killing Imperial troops. Like, these guys are bad, right? Like, that was the whole point, right, of
I like
the
that
propaganda.
that tie into like our own like historical propaganda. Like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
we always play the one side, and it's like that we got to go over there. We got to stop them because look at this.
Exactly, right.
Cats and dogs over here. Like, what?
Yeah, you see that? They got rocks, so we're gonna have to nuke him. It's like there's just no other choice, right?
Gotta take them out.
Can I just say, like, that whole entire scene, as you're seeing like the crowd getting into arguments with like the police or the officers and stuff like that, like, were you guys like tensing up the whole entire time? Because it was just the way that they were using the camera angles. It was just like, film here, film there, film there.
Yeah.
And it was just like you were tensing up throughout the whole
Oh,
entire
of course,
episode.
yeah. It's like like a pressure cooker, right? Like they're just showing you like there's this and this and this and this and this. So, and then it gets to the boiling point, right? To the blowout. I did like, actually, now that you mentioned that, I actually did like the sort of like the operational details, right?
Yeah.
Because Deidre is like, hey, why'd you send me this, like hard ass, Marine dude? Like, why is he here? And part of it is like, oh yeah, well, he's like your tactical officer, right? Like, he's gonna take care of like the actual, execution, right, of the plan. Like, don't worry about it, he's got it. And so she's like, dude, like, what the heck, I love the line that he says. He's like, she asks him, like, oh, like, are you happy? Like, this is what you want? And he's like, what I want is a comfortable ride out of here. He's like,
Yeah.
he's like, but, and he goes back to like being professional, right? He's like, let's not mess up the chain of command. I'm the trigger, but you're the finger. And I love how he's like, make sure you're available. Oh my Lord, dude, like that got to me. He's like, I recognize that you are my superior in this operation,
but I'm the head
at the
bitch
same
in
time,
charge.
exactly. But at the same time, I'm still very much in charge. So don't make me look for you.
You can tell that this. Oh, sorry, go.
I was gonna say, I also took it as like him saying, like, I'm the weapon. Like, I'm the one that's gonna do the damage here. Technically, I just need you to say go, and like after that, I've got this. So it's like you're not that important, but you kind of are because you have a rank. Like that's the way I took it.
Yeah. You can tell that this whole entire episode, I feel like Tony Gilroy had a lot of say into this episode a lot because of the fact that he's filmed Born Supremacy, he's done Clancy, so it's like you kind of got like those tense moments that you would see in those type of movies in
Yeah.
this episode.
Yeah, very much so. Like you said, one of it is definitely with the scenes, the way they were shot, but also the
Mhm.
details, like that. I mean, the dude brings in a shipment of like rookies, right? Like young dudes that with zero experience, he sends
Let's
them
say you
out.
want their trigger happy.
Exactly, right. You want them nervous already. You want them, insecure. You want them confused, and that's why he puts them up to the front lines, right? And you got the Sarge, you got the seasoned like Sarge who knows exactly what's gonna happen, right? He's like, hey man, like you sure about this? Like, it's not a great idea. But again, he pulls rank. He's like, hey, like, did I stutter? Like, like that's your job, right? You and I love how he says like, oh, I thought I saw Imperial uniforms on those guys. Like,
Yeah.
was I? Are they not soldiers? Like, what's going on, right? Like, I was like, dang, like that's some good writing. Like, I like this dude's
I
line.
wonder what took like, when they were when the Imperials got together, I wonder like how they did their interviews with certain people to be like, you
Right?
know what? You're
You, yeah,
you 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 give 0 Fs.
yeah,
You're for the cause.
exactly.
I want you.
Yeah, 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 very much so, right?
Because
Um,
Krennic has like no reaction.
hmm
He has no emotion. So he's like, oh, you want to kill a planet? Why not? Let's do it.
exactly.
I feel like
Yeah,
this guy is that type too. Like, oh, you want to give me a trigger? Okay, we can do whatever you want.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's like I got a mission and I'm gonna see it through. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Um, so as I mentioned, right, I did enjoy that. I was kind of hoping that at least some of the resistance, right? Like remember that older guy, a little bit plumpier, that was
Yeah.
super loud like all the time. I actually thought he was gonna be also like, you know what, guys, you know, this is not a great idea. Like we shouldn't all march in there into their, neatly prepared box where they're just gonna close the lid on us. But no,
They're
he
passing
was
out targets. Here, hold this, please.
yeah, yeah, dude,
Yeah.
seriously, it's like we're basically literally painting targets on ourselves. Uh, but no, it was basically they all marched in there with obviously a bunch of civilians, right? Inside it for quote unquote peaceful demonstration, and then of course, yeah, there you go, exactly. Uh, and then kind of like as expected, right? I think we all saw that coming. The Empire planted that first shot, right? Like they got a sniper who takes out one of the younger
The
troops,
rookies.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the rookies, and then all hell breaks loose, right?
Oh,
One way
yeah.
or another, they were going to have their fight.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
Yeah. Dude,
and
as
going
soon
to
as
what you
the
were
first shot, sorry, I was gonna say as
go
soon
ahead,
as
go
the
ahead.
first shot happened, I knew
Yeah. We're like,
we're
we're
about to see
done.
a massacre.
Chaos.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say leading up to that though, like it was getting like they're chanting, like like it's about somebody's gonna throw that Molotov. Like we know that's coming,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And then that dude, I think, kind of like he realizes, and this is what kind of the image I got is he realizes, dang, this is not a good spot for us. Like we're about to meet our maker. And so what does he do? He starts singing that song, right? Like I'm assuming that's like their national anthem because everybody knew it.
Yeah.
And so they all start singing this, right? And so it kind of curves that like we're about aggression, it's ruthless. Hey, WWE callback right there.
There you go.
Uh, but then it takes a hard curve, right? Like it's now it could be just be a peaceful thing, and they were like, "No, we got somebody to take care of that. Pull the
Yeah,
trigger."
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, nah, we were counting on you to take the first shot, but if you don't, it's all good. We still got this, So,
We
um,
got you.
yeah, exactly. So this is happening, right? Regardless. Um, and yeah, all hell breaks loose. Um, so Cyril, being an Imperial employee, gets to be sort of, sheltered, right? Like they're like, hey, just go step into this room for the next like 2 hours, right? Like don't come out. And he
Well,
goes in there.
they all knew that he was Deidre's boo.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, right? Like, I mean, the man storms like he owns the place, like
Where's my
talking down.
woman?
Yeah, exactly. Like talking down to Imperial ISB officers, right? Not as high up as Didra, but still, right? I mean, it's still the ISB. Um, so yeah, my man grew a backbone in this episode, only for it to be literally like, crushed. But again, so he walks into that little room, right, with like the other office workers,
Mhm.
and lo and behold, there's a squad of KXs in there, right? Like just awkwardly sitting with their hands like on their lap,
And
Just
staring
chilling.
at
and they're
him.
just staring. And then,
I was waiting for one of them to just be like, "Hi,
yes, exactly.
we're new here.
Hey,
We
yeah,
just started.
yeah,
We're here
I-
to audition for the
yes.
job.
Or like, this is my first day, like,
It's my
Yeah.
first
something like
day."
that.
I
Because
think we did kind of get that, because if you saw the one that was just staring at him, I'm like,
Yeah.
I know who that is.
Exactly,
Me
that's
too,
exactly what I
SO.
thought. So I was half hoping, I'm like, oh my lord, is that actual K2SO already, right? Like reprogram, and they managed to plant him right into the squad of KXs. Because yeah, they'll look at him, they'll look away, but one was just like, huh, like just like staring him down. Super awkward, right? So like I said, I was expecting a line out of him, but well, anyway, it didn't happen. He goes to confront Didra, right? And oof, like my man is.
He didn't confront her. He choked the
Yeah, I
shit
was gonna
out of her.
say he's like.
Is Wayne Brady gonna have to choke him? Like,
Exactly, dude. He just goes like straight for it, right? I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa! Like, is this role playing? I was like, nope. I think he's serious.
I was like, "Is he gonna kill her?" Is this
Yeah.
what I was like, "Are we gonna watch him kill his lover?"
Dude, I
How do you
literally,
explain getting out of there?
dude, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's just
I
taking
thought
a
so.
nap.
Yeah, yeah. Her neck is purple by nature. It's always like that. So yeah, I thought it escalated so quick, right? Because he's like, "What are we doing here?" But he's like barely finishing off the sentence, and he's already like crouching her.
Choking
Like, I was like, "Whoa, bro!" Like seriously. And she's like,
I think from him constantly like looking around and seeing everything, I think all his emotions just kicked
"Yeah,
in. And instead of being like, you know what, I'm gonna think like a reasonable person and have this conversation, he's like, no, I'm gonna
he's
choke
like,
the
nope,
shit out of
yeah,
her.
exactly." It's like you used me,
You
type of thing.
used me. And like
Um,
he was in love. So it was like,
oh yeah,
was this even real?
yeah,
Yep. That's
yeah,
what I
and
was
of
saying. It's
course,
like your whole life is
yeah,
pretty
just came
much a
crashing down,
lie.
right?
Yeah.
And to make it worse, you realize that you're too late, right? Like you're
Yeah.
way too late to do anything about it. So uh, she's obviously trying to explain, right, what the situation is, what the end goal is, as at least as she understands it. Um, I love when he's like, "Why is there mining, rigs coming down and all that stuff?" And he's like, "And if you say it's all rumors, I'm gonna throw you out that window." He's like, "I'm
Yeah.
done with that." I was like, "Dang, son."
which was
Uh,
which was crazy, because like his, like, going all the way back to the first season, very very misguided sense of like justice, right? Like he's by
exactly.
the book. If it's in the
Mhm.
book, this is the way we're going to do it. So he's been living this before he met her. So
Yeah.
his raising, his upbringing, we know that it's been like that. And then for him to go all the way to this point thinking he's doing right, he's doing
Yeah.
what needs to be done, like he's doing the right for the empire, and then he finds out he's just being screwed. And it's like, ouch,
Yeah.
my world just
Yeah,
doesn't make
dude.
any sense right now. So as he's trying to process that in his head, he, like you said, he's got his loved one, somebody he's supposed to trust, and it's just like snapped him. So like you're saying, the logical thinking of what he's been, of like the man of justice, just turned into a raging psycho.
Yeah.
And I'm here for that.
Yeah, exactly. And
He
and it
said,
was like,
and I support that.
yeah, exactly. And I was like, all
The
right, man.
character art, the storytelling, just
Yeah.
beautiful.
Oh yeah,
He's like
dude. Like,
saving himself now.
well, I was gonna say, like, he's been saving all that sugary goodness from all the cereal that he eats. Like, that's how he let it all out this episode, right? He got real physical. Um, and and the worst, I think the worst part is that, to know that you're being used, and they're not even pinning it on you, right? Like it's about to be pinned on the whole freaking planet. Like, that's just how much you screwed these people up. Like,
Yeah.
so it's not even like, oh, you screwed me over. Like, no, through me, you're literally about to, you
Screw
know,
everybody.
exactly
Yeah.
screw everybody on this planet. Um, So again, my boy just snapped. So he leaves the security of the imperial offices, right, after giving Didra like half a scare, half a lady boner, if I'm being honest. There was
You
there
think
was
she was
some,
turned on by it?
I think a little bit. I'm not gonna say completely, but I think like a 10-15% was in there.
Yeah.
Was She was like a little bit harder.
She had that like that O, but at the last second
But
I saw that lip
exactly,
curl with a little bite on there, and I was like, all right, I saw it.
I was like, all right,
She was
okay,
probably like, "This is the rough man that I
exactly
needed."
that I've been
She was like,
wanting,
"Not this little
but not
bitch.
today. Yeah,
Not
Yeah.
today."
That's
and
what happens when
so
the lights are off.
yeah, exactly right. Um,
Turn off the lights.
yeah, which I thought it was kind of crazy because he releases her, right? He doesn't actually suffocate her, and she goes like, she doesn't skip a beat in like explaining herself, right, and be like, no, like this is good for us. Like she almost completely brushes over the part of like, he almost
Choke
half
me.
killed me, right? Like, yeah, he almost choked me out. um because she knows that he's about to lose him, right? Like she knows that I got like 10 seconds to try and turn this around. Obviously that doesn't work out. um and so yeah, so Cyril decides to go out there and basically go out like a Gorman, right? He's like, I know exactly what's going to happen, and I don't know what else to do but to be with these people, physically here and in the square and all that stuff. But then, oh, just then he spots a very beautiful Mexican familiar face in the crowd. And, everything that he's been bottling up, just poof, like
Just laser target on that one
exactly laser
person.
target on him.
Dude,
And
he beat the crap
yeah,
out of Andor.
yeah,
Honestly, I would have paid to have seen that whole entire fight.
dude,
Like,
right? It
Oh,
like
was,
yeah.
stop the war. Just let these two battle in the middle of the square.
yeah, yeah, and they go out like at it, right? Um, he definitely dominated that fight for sure. Exactly.
I dare you. I dare you. We ever see Diego again? Like if I'm with you when you
Yeah.
meet him in person again, you have to tell him that.
Oh,
He's a
yeah.
beautiful Mexican.
Oh, he
You gotta
is.
get a shirt made with his picture.
Yeah, I
with
was gonna
that on
say, yeah. My beautiful Mexican right here.
Beautiful
it.
Mexican.
Beautiful.
But yeah, dude,
From
he
one Mexican to the other.
exactly right. Gonna go like this. Uh, but he, man, yeah, he goes to town on Andor, right? And dude, Andor doesn't even know what the heck is going on.
He's like, why
Hey,
is this
LeBron.
ginger beating me up?
Exactly. Yeah. He's like, I'm so confused.
I'm so
Um,
confused.
and again with the choking, right? He almost got Andor that way too. Um, and so yeah, Andor gets finally, I guess, loose from his grip, because man, he looked like he was about to go down too. And then to me, the coldest line in this whole arc. So Cyril grabs a weapon. He's got it pointed at Andor. Andor is weaponless, right, on the floor. He turns. They exchange glances, uh, and that beautiful Mexican just says, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, that was so crushing." Like, this man's life has completely turned around into the worst possible outcome, right, at this point, because of him. And he doesn't even have
Know
an
who I
inkling,
am.
yeah,
I
exactly, of
remember
who
who.
this person
Yeah.
is, right, like at all. um
Ugh.
and then of course the cherry on top, and by top I mean the blaster bolt to his head. Yeah, so RAP, Cyril gets taken out with a blaster to the
Dude,
to
if you saw my face when he got shot, I wish I recorded it.
yeah.
Craig was watching I think he was like watching a hockey game, and I just went, and he was like, "What?" And I was like, and he's like, "What is that face for?" And I was like,
Yeah, exactly.
and
Mhm.
he's like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, like I couldn't even speak.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah,
like,
That,
I watched it for the second time today, and I was just like, oh my god, like who gets
Yep.
shot like that?
yeah, he gets taken out.
Ugh.
that
Oof.
that was so like your whole world fell apart. Your adversary that kind of took you down this path of where you're at now, the guy that if you could do anything to get to him, you have him point blank, and you're about to take him out, and he hits you with the most perfect question that's going to make you kind of just question everything about your existence.
Who are
Who
you?
are you?
Yeah,
And that just like that hit the pause button on him. He was like, "Who am I?"
exactly.
And then
Yeah, and then bam, no time to ponder. Yeah, taken out by again whatever magistrate I think is his title. I'm not even sure, but basically the old dude from the Gorman Resistance, right? He takes him out, cold.
that's
Um,
because previously, right before all that went down, they had that exchange where he
Yeah,
yeah,
basically was like, "You
you
knew
screwed
about
us
this,
over.
like you were causing us to die,"
yep,
and so, which is true, but also at the same thing, like we don't know. He could have turned right there. He could have been like, "Who am I? Like I am a man of justice, and what they're doing is wrong. So I need to help these people out."
yeah,
Now we ain't got
right,
time for that. You done and just
yep,
lights out.
boom, out, yep, yep. Um, so yeah, so passes Cyril, aka Serial. Um, you know, great scene. Don't get me wrong, like great scene, great episode for him. Um, but yeah, taken out cold. Like I said, that line from Andor, I was like, oof, they did not have to do that. Like that was so much. Um, and so yeah, my so I guess in parallel, Didra is telling her subordinate, "Hey, find my man, get him to safety." Right? All
They're
hell's
like,
breaking loose.
yo, man is out there already.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
he's out there. He's like, you don't pay me enough to go out there. And I'm like, he's out there on his own choice. So
He
you
did.
know, yeah, exactly. He's like, so good luck to him. Of course, she knows that she doesn't
He's
say it right, or she doesn't get, I guess, 100% confirmation. Not in this episode, anyway. Um, but she very much suspects, right, that she's not gonna get to see him again. So the fighting, if we can call it that, right, is going on in the plaza. Um, there's actual stormtroopers, which is finally cool, to see full on, Rogue One stormtroopers, and obviously just opening fire on civilians left and right.
And
Some
still
of
missing, surprisingly. That was like fish in a barrel. They still missed
Yeah, I
the
was like,
shot.
bro, like they literally can't even move like from side to side, and you're still
Tony
hit.
just said some fight words.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't want to bring it
I've
up
been
because I
wanting
saw the score.
to. You didn't see my face. I turned around and looked
Yeah.
at the TV, and I was like,
Yep.
and then because Craig is a Knicks fan as well, he texted me. He's like, "Hi, baby, how's the show?" I was like, "It's great." He was like, "Are you watching basketball?" I said, "No, I haven't been able to turn. Why?" And then he sends me a basketball emoji, and I looked and I went. So I sent him a middle
dang it.
finger
Yeah.
emoji, and he's like, "That's not nice." And I said, "Don't come home. The door's locked." I was like, "I want to take off my jersey in the middle of the fucking live stream."
That's funny. Um, but um, but yeah, the Gorman Resistance, which by the way, I felt like they prepared a bunch of Molotov, cocktails, and they
We
used
saw
like
one.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
like that stuff is cheap. Just use them all.
The guys are
Um,
just sipping on it. And
yeah, I
oh,
guess so, right? Courage, liquid courage, because we know we're going down with the ship. Um, so yeah, I saw that. Vicente. Vicente says someone's sleeping on the couch tonight.
You crazy? We have a king size bed. He's a large man. He would not be able to sleep on our couch.
Or couches. We can put, two together.
No, he has like this one massive love seat that is only his. Like
Nice.
nobody is allowed to sit in that. He bought like a big king size one. You've seen him, Jose. He's a freaking massive man.
That's awesome. Um, and then the cherry on top, because they're like, let loose the dogs of war.
Oof.
And lo and behold, come out the Terminators, right? So the KX units come out, unarmed, by the way, which I could have sworn in the Mandalorian flashback when they showed us, sort of like the Night of the Thousand Tears. I could have sworn those guys had blasters.
Yeah, they
Um,
did.
right? But so out here they come out, no weapons, and man, I feel that was actually more cruel because they were just beating people like
Yeah.
to a pulp, man. They were breaking bones, like
A blaster bolt, quick.
oof.
The
Yeah.
way
Bare
that
knuckle.
the way that the one girl got,
Yes.
I was like, oh my god, like
Yeah. So
she was running away from you. She was
yeah.
trying to declare peace.
Yeah, I was gonna say so. So we have again the daughter of the magistrate, mayor, president, whatever it is, right? So basically, the closest thing to the leader, right, of the government front. Um, she she sees the one of the main guys too, right? That's been in there for from the beginning, pretty much of the rebellion of their rebellion. Gets a blaster bolt to the gut, right? But he doesn't die. Like he's there, like sort of like agonizing on the floor. And so she tries to get to him, and that's when one of the KXs, right, is approaching. Um, she obviously, shoots at the droid, and blaster bolts really don't do much. Bless you. Really, really don't
Thank
do
you.
much. And so she gets, she gets like punched. She loses the weapon, to your point. So she's already like on the ground, right? Like crawling, um, unarmed, right? And nice, appreciate you, Archer. Yeah, watch it this week. Watch it this week. Let me know what you think. We'll talk.
Archer,
We'll
since I've
talk.
known him, has been the what is it? The Andor hater.
Oh yeah, he did not quite enjoy the first season.
Which is funny because Flex was the same way too. He used to call it Ass Door.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
now he was like, oh, this was a great episode. Well, you should have
Yeah.
waited.
Yeah,
Gotta give
right.
it time. It was just the
Uh,
first season.
Yeah, but
And bore. I heard a lot
yeah,
of
right.
and bore.
And uh, so this girl, right, or woman, young woman, gets picked up again, unarmed, right? She's already on the floor. She's definitely not in a fighting position that you would consider a threat. But the droid just picks her up from like her back, right, and just like woof, flings her out. She lands pretty hard, obviously, onto the concrete. She rolls and she's basically dead, right? Like, you
Yep.
see her face like lifeless, which I was like,
Well,
whoa, that
she didn't
they
get
went
chunked
for it.
a foot or two. That was like, I don't know, maybe like 20 feet that she
Oh,
got
dude,
thrown.
yeah,
Like,
She got
yeah,
thrown
easily.
a block.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
She,
Like,
she went up. She
that
had
was a
art,
block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought the thing that made it just a little bit more harrowing was the yell, right? Like the scream from the dude on the ground, the one with the shot to the gut, right? And he sees that the droid's gonna pick her up, and he just like yells in terror, dude. Like not even like no, this like like it was like pure
Because I don't think
panic,
anybody
dude.
wants to see something like that.
Exactly,
That
right. So
close.
that's probably, again, they've been in it together for years at this point, uh knowing, they've probably known each other since way before that. And you just see, what's about to happen, right?
I
You're
was
about
also
to
like,
watch.
were they kind of the boo thing together? Like,
I don't know.
was
I
there
thought
something
so
there?
too.
Kind of a
I
little
got a
bit,
little
right?
bit of hints there, but it was never, I guess, explicitly said.
Yeah.
But yeah, she gets taken out bad too. Like next to Cyril, I think she's got the number 2 spot on how to
On
get
kills.
taken out cold. Yeah,
Oof.
on this arc.
That one,
Um,
or when they first came out and they kicked the barrier and that thing just went flying into people.
yeah, and
Like,
then that dude flies into like another barrier. Like,
yeah.
yeah, that was pretty good too.
I would say her death scene was kind of like the equivalency of when we were watching the Kenobi series when Vader force chokes the shit out of the kid and snaps his neck in the
Oh
village.
yeah,
Yeah.
Because that scene, I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God. I'm like, they showed that on Disney.
I know. Yeah.
I was like, Disney
They
went
went
dark.
for it on that scene, dude. Like, yeah, one of my favorite scenes, by the way, in the show.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you on that one. That's about the same, level of shock that was not really expected, Um, but yeah, so the fighting, quote unquote, right, continues. They finally kind of make it out to the streets, right, and then Andor is being pursued by a KX, and he kind of can tell that he's like, it's not gonna end well, and that the KX gets taken out by a truck, basically, a speeder from an Imperial speeder, mind you, troop carrier, driven by the guy who accidentally shot um, Cinta, right, last arc.
Mhm.
So he's still in the fight. He's kind of played a role now. He did save Andor, and then again the kid from Ferrix, which I should remember his name. He's like, yeah, dude, like I'm
I'll
not
be on
going.
it right now.
I gotta go find my boo. Amongst all this mess, and Andor's like, bro, like what are you talking about? We gotta bail, and he's like, well, if you're gonna go, can you give me a hand with one last thing? Um, which is basically carrying the busted up KX droid into the truck, right?
You need to load them up.
Yeah,
Gonna make a new best friend.
exactly, right. Since I'm gonna lose my homeboy from Ferrix, might as well get me a good souvenir for it. And so
I'm trying to find the kid.
yeah, I'm blanking out on his dang name.
Is it Namek?
No, Nemec was the young one with the manifesto. Remember season 1, I think.
Oh yeah.
Um,
yeah, there's so many people.
yeah. Now there is. But how do you call it?
Pack.
Is it Pack? Wilman.
Yeah.
Wilmon.
Yeah.
Wilmon. Yeah, that's him. Wilmon. And so Andor bails out of there, right? While listening to some pretty bad, radio transmissions, right, of people just like asking for help, like,
we're being slaughtered.
Yeah.
Mass genocide. Come help us. I'm like,
Yeah.
Can you imagine just like driving and you hear that transmission and you're like, yeah, I'm not going.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, it's the opposite of what I'm gonna do. Like hit
They
that way.
been like, hey, there's flowers and free candy here. Please,
please come over.
Come over.
Dude, yeah. So my only complaint about that is that I thought we were gonna get to see some like TIE fighters, like hammered down on the people, because they kept
like,
flying around, Yeah. And remember at the beginning when I think the first call between Partagast and Didra, she does say like the fleet is in position, right? Like the
we know
so
that.
I was like, yeah. So I was like, okay, it's gonna start in the square, right? We kind of all knew that, right? And then it's gonna keep building up, and then the Empire is gonna be like, you know what, man, we gotta clean house. We gotta orbital like bombardment. Like things got so out of hand that we have no option, right? Like we gotta shoot from the sky or from space. So I thought that was coming, and that's when I thought, again, in my mind, I was like, that's when Didra realizes she's not getting out, like Partagast is gonna make her like the scapegoat. He's like, oh, this rogue ISB intelligence officer like acted all on her own, like we got nothing to do, like we do not condone what she did, like that was horrible and blah blah blah. So everything kind of gets spun around and pinned on her. That's what I thought we were gonna see, like once it gets really bad, and she's like, oh, I just realized there was never a shuttle for me or never a ship that I was gonna leave on, like I was always meant to stay here. I'm not saying we won't. There's still, I guess, technically a little bit of time to see that, but I thought that's where the whole shebang was going. Um,
They got to
Well, guys,
spin this off on somebody because coming
Exactly.
up, we'll talk about it. Like there's some rumblings now in the Senate of what's really going
Oh, yeah.
on.
well,
There is a rogue ISB.
Mm-hmm.
we'll probably see it in the next arc because it'll go now a year.
Yeah.
So we'll probably see her not in uniform.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too.
I
That's what I was thinking. I was
100%
like,
feel like we're not going to see her in uniform.
yeah. So I'm like, okay, if she didn't get taken out by like her own people, right? I think she's had enough, right? Like you could tell she's like, oh, this is definitely not what I want. Um, and so yeah, to your point, I'm with you on that one. I think we're gonna see her maybe on Yavin 4, like working as an officer or as an intelligence officer or something like that.
I was gaslit and they killed my man.
Yeah, exactly, right. Um,
Empire
so, yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
Can I say the only person I felt bad for towards the end of that episode was actually Cyril's mom.
Right?
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Because she was watching the TVs and she knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She knew for sure.
And she was hysterically crying.
Yeah. Yeah.
With that mother's intuition where she was like telling them this whole entire time, like, come back to Coruscant. Like,
Yeah, get
forget
out
all
of
that.
there.
Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
get out of there.
Yeah. Hey Rex, appreciate you, stopping by, brother. Get some rest, man.
Thanks. Get some
Talk
sleep.
later. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. That was pretty sad just to see her, with her peeps just watching TV, but she knows like she's like, yeah, he's not getting out. But then we got, a I don't know, the second half of the arc, if we want to call it that, but basically centered around Mon Mothma, right? And she's
Before
like,
we jump over there, we did
Yeah.
forget a very important message that we discovered about Andor being a message.
Yeah,
That's the
actually,
healer part. We didn't talk about that
You're
right
right.
there. Like, we know exactly what they're talking about.
yeah,
They don't know
So-
what they're talking about.
you're right. So we know that while in the scenes where their 2-bedroom apartment, in the middle of the jungle, Andor apparently got shot or grazed at least by a blaster bolt, and it's
Mhm.
not healing, right? So it's definitely giving him problems. Biggs, like any good Mexican, wife, is like, oh, I'm gonna take you to the curandera, right? Like, I'm gonna take you to the witch
Sana,
doctor.
sana.
Exactly, yeah. Like we're about to hit up the
What do you know
mystical
about
remedies,
that? What do you know
I don't
about
know.
that?
So I've
Mike?
been told, that's just stuff that I've read. And so lo and behold, in the Yavin 4 camp base community, there seems to be an older lady, who'd have thunk,
Force
that
healer.
is a force healer, which by my recollection at least, this is the first time that they've kind of said, the force in this show.
Mhm.
Um maybe somewhere in season 1, but I don't recall right now. If anybody here in the chat knows, let me know if the force was mentioned before here on Andor. Again, off the top of my head, I don't think it has. So when he says, he's like, oh come on, like a force healer, like, you kidding me? And I was like, oh cool, we still remember the force. Which was
The
funny
only
because
thing in the Luthen maybe in the shop might have said something about Jedi and the Force or something, but talking about an artifact, like not actually referencing somebody using the Force.
exactly.
So I think this healer is the first spoken or actually shown
Yeah. Oh,
Force
for sure.
person.
Yeah, for sure. That has used the force, right? But even like I said, even in reference, I don't remember them talking about it.
Yeah.
So she detects, right, Andor from across the yard, goes
Mhm.
to talk to them, and she's like, oh, like who are you, and stuff. And the way I interpret is when she's like, oh, you're hurt, right? Like, let me see if I can like help you out. The way I understood it is that when she touched him, she kind of got a vision, right? Like,
Yep.
or maybe not an actual visibly like vision, but she got a like a an intuition. He got a feeling about him, right?
Yeah.
And so Andor is like, man, this is this is BS. So I'm just gonna leave. Um, the Force healer gets to talk to Biggs, right? He's like, who is he? And she's like, oh, like even amongst friends, right? Even amongst colleagues of the rebellion, she's like, I don't think I should tell you, right? Like who or what he does. So she just goes, he's a pilot, right? Um, and then she's like, well, he's um how does she say it? She's like, most people carry the past, right? Like with them, right? Like all the time. But some people gather as they go. He's like, so he's one of those few people. And I can see that he's a messenger, right? Like he's got a purpose to him. Um and he needs to be somewhere, right, to fulfill that purpose. He's like, I don't know what that is. um Maybe it's being with you, right? Like she tells Bix. And we got that nice touch of a little bit of the mysticism, right, of Star Wars, which we haven't really seen in this show, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's been very much political and tactical, and like a spy thriller, right? So we don't usually those stories don't usually mesh well with like the mysticism, right, or the spiritualism of Star Wars. So to your point, it was very cool to see it, right?
Yep.
To at least see some of it, um, see the hint of the purpose that we all know that Andor has, right? But again, at this point in the story, nobody else does. Um, and again, it was cool to see that there's still people wielding the Force, around. Um, so that was very much interesting. And of course, there's a whole thing about faith and believing, right? Mixed into all of that. Um, but I thought it was funny that Andor brings up Marva, right? He's like, "Oh, you should be glad that Marva's not here. She hated Force healers."
Mm-hmm.
And Bix was like, "She hated one Force healer like 10 years ago." And I'm like, "Oh, there's a story there,"
Yep.
um, and so yeah, you're right, that was definitely cool to see, just because again we haven't really seen much of that in the whole show, really.
I'm glad that
um
Mike brought that up because it was funny. I actually like wrote little bullet points
nice,
of
look at
us
you.
talking. And like the first one I did say, I was like, Cassian and the Force healer. He has a purpose. He's a messenger.
There you go.
Yep.
Nice.
I
Also,
thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
yeah. Also, another thing that we didn't touch up on. So when Cassian was at the hotel registering, the front desk guy said to him, rebellions are built on
Built on
hope.
hope.
About
Yeah.
hope.
So it
Yeah.
was kind of like paying a homage to Rogue One
Oh yeah.
because Jin says that in her speech when she's talking about her father.
Yeah. Yeah, because what does Cassian say? I hope it all goes well to you with you, right, or something like that.
Yeah. And
And
then
the
he says
kid says
rebellions are
like,
built
yeah,
on hope.
rebellions are built on
Yep.
hope.
I was like,
I
yes.
know. Yeah. But yeah, it was pretty cool again to see it. Um, but then we also learned that Cassian is pretty high regarded, right, within the chain of command of the rebellion. Um, we have Vel, Mon Mothma's cousin, right, visit Biggs while Cassian is out, and she literally tells her, like, General, some white dude sent me, and General Dodonna, right, and we all know good old General Dodonna. Like they both sent me, because they need Cassian. Like she literally says, like, he's about to be promoted. Like, he's not just a soldier or a spy. Like he's a leader. So again, it's just that big progression of Cassian within the rebellion, right? Like he is
The
he's
purpose.
exactly, like he has a pretty big role right now in the hierarchy, right, of like the military organization that is the rebellion now. So again, I thought it was cool how they obviously name dropped the Donna, one of the more famous generals which we did get to see for a little bit at least in Star Wars Rebels. So yeah, so that kind of leads us, to the fallout of the Gorman massacre, and basically um, very much focused on Senator Mon Mothma and her famous speech, right? Which we all
Oh.
knew was coming because we've kind of saw it in Rebels, right? We knew that it was in this time period, um, and now we know everything that had to go right, to for her to actually speak on the Senate. Um, so she basically says, you know what, this is too much. The Gorman massacre, it's just too obvious what they did. Like, we cannot keep going with this. She talks with good old brand new Bail Organa.
Good old
And
brand new
see,
guy.
Exactly.
but see, last week you said it sucked that we only got him to say a couple words and then he dipped out. We
Yeah.
got him interacting even more, which we
Yeah.
knew it was going to happen
Yeah,
regardless.
exactly. Like, the recast couldn't be just for that,
Oh,
little
yeah.
piece that we got, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so basically they're both in agreement that something has to be done. Can't keep going like this. They're both aware of Yavin, right? Because they both worked hard to establish it. Um, and so yeah.
They're also both hesitant.
Oh
They're
yeah,
both
very
like
much
they're
so.
like, we got to do something, but do we really? Because if we
Yeah.
do, ain't no going
There's
back.
no going back.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? Again, this is
Yeah.
basically, blowing the lid on the rebellion, right? Like, that's it. We're here. We're formally, a fighting force now. And so yeah, so I think both of them say, right, like, Yavin needs more time. Like, we're
Yeah.
not ready yet. They
No, I
know.
think Bale is the one who says Yavin needs more time.
Yeah.
And she asked
And-
him, well, yeah, I think she asked him something like, like, when is the time then?
Yeah. And so I know that it seemed like the original plan, right, that they both had sort of constructed was we dropped the bomb, right, on the Senate floor, and we dip, right, and that's it. We're full on rebels. We gotta go live with them and all that stuff, right? But then, Bale is like, yeah, we're not there yet, right? Like, he's like, I agree, like, something has to be done. He's like, but it can't be the both of us, right? Like, I
Yeah.
gotta stay and, like, buy you guys time. I gotta buy you, uh, keep things, spinning here in the Senate, and
Yeah.
not have them uber focused on you, right?
Yeah.
Like, I still gotta murk up stuff here so they're not exactly know what's going on. So yeah, right. So basically he says, I'm gonna get you to speak, right? I'm gonna give you the opportunity. Uh, you're gonna drop a bomb ass speech, which you're gonna write in like 2 hours. And then, my peoples are gonna get you out, right? And you're off to Yavin, right? Like, you have, that's it. Like, you just gotta go live with the rebels. At this point, I don't even know where her husband is, or if he's still alive, for that matter. But who cares, right? I mean, deadbeat husband, I guess.
She doesn't even
he's a-
care.
No,
Yeah,
she
he's
doesn't.
asleep in the car.
Yeah.
She never even mentioned it. She never even mentioned him once.
No, which I was expecting through this whole show. I was like, is she gonna ask? Is like, oh, is somebody gonna get my dude,
husband,
like, out?
my dude.
Yeah. And she's
Bring
like,
him to come live with
whatever.
me as a savage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No more
Well,
luxury.
Yeah.
Yeah, like her daughter's married off, so empty nest. They didn't have a great relationship to begin with,
No.
and it was a political thing probably more than anything. So yeah, she's done with that. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I think,
Yep.
I'm sure the ISB, keeps tabs on all of that, and they're like, yeah, he's not really a bargaining chip, like, she doesn't care about him.
She doesn't
So
care.
yeah. Um so yeah, we get to see, everything, spinning around that speech, right? It's gotta happen, how it has to happen, how fast she's gotta leave, who she has to live with. And finally we get to see Luthen again, right? Like, pop up and she tells him, it's like, oh, by the way, like, you're 8. He's been working for me, like, for years now. Which I was like, really? You lead off the conversation with that? Like, she's about to have a nervous breakdown and you just throw her another curveball.
Because Luthen is so awkward, so it's like
Yeah.
he doesn't know how to
No.
simplify things and be like, "Hey, so I feel like you should kind of know, but don't freak out." But he's like, "Oh no, I've had somebody watch you this whole entire time.
Yeah, it's like,
You're
dude,
you're good. I know
Yeah.
everything about you. I know what time you go to pee and poo."
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, to your point, right? Like that was maybe his messed up way of like reassuring her, right? Like,
I love you.
I
we
got you.
got your
Yeah.
back, you know.
Yeah, I got you.
Like,
Don't worry
no,
about it.
man, like that's. And she even says it, right? It's like I'm the most scared of you right now, like, than anybody else. Um,
Because he hides so well in the shadows.
oh yeah,
So it's like when you think that Luthen is not around, he is.
yeah,
Just
very much so.
but with other people.
He's
Yeah.
the most hands-off, hands-on person we know.
Yeah,
But that's
exactly.
that's who you kind of need in order to
Oh, yeah.
do stuff like this. You
To be
need somebody
effective, right?
to be effective. You need somebody who can hide behind everybody and not anybody suspect him.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. It surprised me he's not even bothering with the wig anymore. So he's just he's like, I'm done.
It was irritating my neck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's at the dry cleaners. And so he kind of like tells her, right, hey, FYI, you know, that whole plan that you had with Bale, you can't do that. His people are not good, right? Like they're compromised.
They're dirty.
Yeah, which again, just adding to her anxiousness, right? She's like, come on, man, like I thought I knew who my friends are, how I'm gonna get out alive, hopefully. And now you tell me, oh, by the way, no, like that your one lifeline is also compromised. And he's like, I'm gonna send you somebody, you don't know them, like, but you know, trust them with your life. And she's like, no, man, like that's not
Why would I trust anybody who's really
exactly, yeah.
you?
Especially, yeah, exactly, especially coming from you. So of course,
I liked it. It was also like, you don't know what he looks like. You don't know anything about him.
you don't know
but
anything
when
about
you see
him.
him. Ask him,
Ask
are
him
you
this.
alone? Like,
Yeah.
how? Who? She's just walking
Exactly.
around like, are you alone? Are
Yeah,
you alone?
you alone. Exactly. Which, by the way, I did like. She doesn't even do. If you notice,
Yeah.
she never asked. You know, she was trying to like deflect on him, right? Like, and Cassian was like,
Oh.
I got friends everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, damn it,
like,
woman,
pay
like, ask
attention
me.
to me.
Exactly. Which I thought was funny. He's like, I don't have time for this, bro. Like, here's the code word. Let's move.
Yeah, she's straight up just like, get me out of here.
Yeah.
I need to keep going. She looked like somebody who had to go pee and try to find a bathroom.
Oh, bad. Yeah, exactly. He's like, I don't
like,
even
I'm
care.
gonna throw up. I just gave a speech that might get me
Exactly.
killed.
Yeah. And so yeah, so she prepares the speech, right? Again, bomb speech, like that was good. Good writing. I half expected it to be the one from Rebels though. From the Rebels, you know, episode.
We're gonna talk about on that one.
Yeah, with the transmission, right? They kind of fixed it later on, right? Saying like, oh, they want her to make a speech and they're gonna broadcast it and all that stuff. So again, with the double how can I say it? The double events that we know. So we knew there was a Mon Mothma speech, right? And again, I thought it was the speech, right? The one we've seen in Rebels. Now we know technically there was two, right? There was one that she dropped there in Coruscant, right, on the Senate. Then they extracted her. Then they had her make the actual speech that we saw on Rebels, right? Yeah. Which they do mention, right? It's like she needs to prepare a speech. We are gonna broadcast it, and we need like an escort from the Rebel Alliance, right? Like from Yavin to be the one to bring her in, which is kind of interesting because you see the other side, right? Like the Rebel propaganda, right? Machine kind of working also, right? And you know, working on even on themselves, right? Like, oh, we need for Yavin, right, base, everybody there to see that Yavin ships are the ones that saved, you know, the senator and brought her to safety and, you know, all of that. So they got to show themselves as effective, right, to themselves, really. So again, I thought
it shows that the cause is on a right path.
Exactly, right, and that they're actually that they know what they're doing, right?
Yeah,
that they can actually pull off military operations, right, like that. So I thought that was interesting, you know, sort of like the ramifications, right, of it. But again, the episode is very much on getting Monma to say the speech, right, and getting her safely out, which I thought was funny when she fires the aide, right, that is working with Luthen, and I think Luthen is the one who asks, like, "Oh, is she doing this speech?" He's like, "I don't know. Like, we didn't get to talk to it."
Yeah.
And he's
Like,
like,
you
"Okay,
ask her.
yeah." It's like you ask her, like,
He's like, you got me fired.
exactly, yeah,
You do my job. Pull double duty.
yeah, right. And so Andor infiltrates the Senate as a news reporter again, and basically, he has to get her out, right? Because the people that Bail Organa hired or part of his organization or whatever, one of them is an ISB agent, right? Uh, but man, so I was a little bit surprised. Maybe not surprised, but like I'm like, man, they went for it because Andor's trying to get trying to get Mon Mothma out after the speech, right? And the aide is there, and then Bail Organa's people are there, right, including the traitor. She pulls a gun, and Andrew's like, you know what, man, I'm done. And poof, like, yeah,
I was like, oh,
headshot.
here comes the Mexican
Mon Mothma's
standoff
like-
here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, I ain't got
Mon
time for
Mothma's
that.
like, you shot a woman. He was like, we gotta go.
Yeah.
He was
He's
like,
like-
shut up. Let's
he's
He
go.
was gonna
so,
kill you.
yeah. Exactly.
He's like, I don't know her. Like, I'm
Yeah,
trying
exactly. And
Yeah.
now I
I'm
never
just
get
trying to
go.
save
Let's-
you.
Yeah. Let's go, right? And then the driver, the freaking driver who we've been seeing from season 1, right? That she knew it was a planted, agent from the ISB. We see him just flat out call the ISB office like 20 times a day, in this episode. He's like, hey, she's not out. He's like, okay, is that suspicious? He's like, not really. And I'm
Not
like,
really.
What are you calling me? It's like,
She
and
ordered her
so-
burger with no cheese today.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. She's like, I don't know.
that-
Doesn't feel
that
right.
That's
Yeah,
suspicious.
exactly. I thought I should report it,
She uses double ply toilet paper, but today she used single.
Exactly. She's like, something's up. It's not good. We should, arrest her. And I thought it was funny how he's like, screw this. So he decides to physically go up and try to look for her, right? And Andrew's like, oh, what's the dude's name? It's like, whatever his name is. He's like, oh, hey, man. He's like, oh, hey. Pff. Like, oh, man. Like,
hey, Kenny, we got her. And he's like,
yeah,
huh?
we found her. He's like, huh? And boom.
I was not expecting that. Like,
No.
I went like, oh shit.
Yeah, dude. Andrew is like, I don't got time, dude.
Yeah, I was like, I really like that because it's showing like this is war. Like,
Yep.
well, like he says it to her, welcome to the rebellion.
Welcome to the
And
rebellion.
she's
Yeah, I
like,
like that.
Like,
Yeah.
and so like, this is what it's going to take for us to get out of here. And this is
Yeah.
probably what it's going to take for us to win. Like, we're going to have to
Exactly.
be ruthless.
Yeah.
And, her mindset is not that. So she's like freaking out every time, like he kills somebody. But like, that eventually she's going to get numb to that and realize, this is my life now. But in the middle of all that, she's still like freaking out, like paranoid. Like, you're like, no, we got to go. We got to go.
Yeah.
They're running out of that whole entire building. It was like watching something from like Mission Impossible. Like
Yeah.
Cassian is Tom Cruise's character, and they're trying to like escape wherever they're at. And just like, as much as Mon Mothma was freaking out, so was Cassian. If you see it in Cassian's face,
Oh, yeah.
he's like, I just want to live. I just want to live a peaceful life.
No
Yeah.
exit strategy whatsoever. Just run.
Yeah.
just run.
No backup. You don't know how to trust. Like, you're literally in the heart of the Empire. Yeah. So that's why he's like, I ain't got time for this, bro. Like, anybody that stops me is getting a blaster bolt to the face.
I love how he takes the vehicle and just like cuts
Beats
off.
off. Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
peels
beats
off.
off,
Yeah.
like knocks over a pillar. Is like, yeah, whatever.
like-
they see me, I'm gone.
Yeah, he's like, I'm done with being like, secretive, right? He's like, we gotta get the F out of
outta
here.
here,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
And Mon
Um,
Mothma's just staring at him in like the back of the car, like,
Yeah.
oh, wow. She's like, this fearless man saved
I
me.
know. Yeah. Which again, it's one of those things because we saw them together a bunch, at least at the beginning of Rogue One, right? But yeah, they had not met, right? They had not met up to this episode.
Mhm.
Which is kind of crazy to think, but yeah. So what a way to meet and form a bond of trust. um so yeah, Mon Mothma is officially joined the rebellion, right? Again, she dropped the speech on the Senate.
Ugh.
um I
Can I,
liked.
can I quote 2 lines from that speech?
Yeah, for sure.
One, where she says, "The distance on what is said and what is known is to be true has become an abyss."
Yeah.
And then this part, which I love that Mike today had posted a picture of Palpatine, was when she said, "The death of truth is the ultimate victory of evil. When truth leaves us, when we let it slip away, when it's ripped from our hands, we become vulnerable to the appetite of whatever monster screams the loudest."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh,
And she actually calls him a monster, right? He's like,
yeah.
she's
And
like,
then,
just so
And
there's
the
no
monster who
misinterpretation.
screams the
Yeah,
loudest.
exactly. Yeah, is literally Emperor Palpatine. I was like, boom, name dropped.
So
Um,
circling to the parallels of Rebels. So on Rebels, we see the some of the Ghost crew chilling, watching the speech,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
And that's coming from like a news report. It's like the propaganda of the Imperial. It's like a news guy, and they show that clip, right? And then we know what was dropped, yesterday. So those two speeches right there, those are supposed to be the same speech.
no, so again,
It was
this is
led
what
on
I
to
what
be.
I understood, because they get her out, right, or they're about to get her out, and then I forget if it's Luthen who says, um, um, or Cassian asks if he's like getting all the way
To Yavin.
to Yavin, right? And I think it's or is it the general? I'm blanking out on the
No, the
sequence right
general
now.
the general says to him, "No, you're staying here. You're riding with the kid.
Yeah, yeah, there you
She
go.
has to go with
She has
gold
to be
leaders,
escorted by
gold
Gold Squadron,
leaders.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, gold
Um,
squadron.
and then I think he's the one who says they want her to make a speech, right? And be escorted by ships from Yavin or something like that. I forget the
Yeah.
way but he said, like people from Yavin need to escort her, right? So that's why
And
I
there's to be
understood
a
that.
radio transmission.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's why I understood that they're like, okay, we got her out. We need her to make a speech, the one that we're going to transmit, like to the entire galaxy, right? Or, if we can. Um, and then that's when the Ghost Crew picks her up, right? And then has to deliver her to Gold Squadron, right?
Yeah.
And then she gets taken to Yavin. That's what I understood from that little dialogue. Because again, in my mind, the speech that she made yesterday is not the same as the one
No, it's
in
not.
No,
Rebels,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So in Rebels, she does that speech, which Chopper's showing the Ghost crew. Then eventually she ends up on the Ghost with the Y wings on the side,
Yeah,
and then she does one to like basically to the whole entire galaxy that I am officially stepping down and I'm joining the rebellion. I'm not fighting it from the Senate. I'm fighting it from the front lines with you. Like, so are we going to see another speech in live action that's going to mimic that? Because we
Mhm.
said she's officially a part of the rebellion, which we can take with a grain of salt. Like the
yeah,
one
yeah,
we saw live action is the declaration of her becoming a rebel.
yeah. But
But in
she
the
didn't
rebels,
say like the actual Rebel
yeah,
Alliance. Yeah,
yes, in the rebels, she actually says, "I'm
yeah.
stepping down, and I am a part of the rebellion." So I'm like, are we going to get another one of those, like to kick off this next arc?
Are
Or are
we
we
gonna
going
get
to?
the ghost crew to come pick her up?
That's what I was half
They
expecting.
said
Because
there's no
I have
cameos,
been
so I'm
seeing a
like,
lot of Freddie Prinze Jr. like posting occasionally on
Yeah,
Instagram of him as live action
Kanan.
Kanan.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So what I wasn't expecting like a full on recreation of that scene, right, from
yeah,
Rebels. I was kind of expecting of like the closing shot of being like the ships arriving, right?
yeah.
Like
Ghost,
you said,
yeah,
the
or even the
the
Phantom just chilling in the background.
exactly, just like the
Yes.
Phantom or the Ghost just chilling, right? And we just see it from their perspective, and you just get the ship that's transporting, Mon Mothma, right, with like the Y
Yeah,
wings, and that's it, right? Like, nah, you don't see like anybody's like face. I kind of had hope, for
Yeah.
something like that, something.
That would tie a bow too. I mean, the ghost was in season 1 was parked in the back, right? Or not necessarily the ghost, but the ship type was in the background
Yes.
in
Yeah.
season
Oh,
1.
in
So
yeah. Hmm. And
so
then of course
they
in
could have done
Rogue
that.
Squadron, in
They could have done
Rogue
that.
One. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Would have had a whole bunch of Rebel fans like, yes.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. And again, I I wasn't really expecting, full on like live action Hera and Kanan and stuff. Would have been cool, but like you said,
Yeah.
he did mention he's not really doing like
The
Cameos.
cameos, right? But I was like, the ships, like, they could be the insinuation, right, of who's
Yeah.
there.
It's not a cameo. That's an Easter egg right there. We want
Exactly, right. So I was kind of half hoping for that towards the end of the episode.
that. But to circle back to what I was saying on the two speeches that parallel each other. So me and George were arguing, not arguing, but we were debating on this. He was like, I really wish they would have kept the continuity and have her do the one from Rebels.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I've watched both of them pretty much side by side because I was trying to make a video where I overlaid the live action in the scene, but I was too tired and I gave up on it. But I was listening to them side by side. Live action hit way harder. Like,
Oh yeah, no,
like
don't get me
if
wrong.
if you don't know the Rebel one that well, go get a clip off YouTube, watch it, and then go back and rewatch that right there. Night and day. The live action hits way harder.
Yeah, but like I said, that's also my maybe not my gripe, but like one thing that I did notice, I was like, oh, it's not the same. Like I know that, like it's not verbatim, right? The one from Rebels. So there is a bit of discrepancy there. But like you said, right, this one I think it's better. I think it hits harder.
Yeah,
Same,
it was a more
different.
profound speech.
Yeah.
For this profound episode.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That line the last line you read.
Yeah.
Fire.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, just the I had to replay that speech over and over because just the line, we become vulnerable to the appetite of whatever monster screams the loudest. Like, oof.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know who wrote that.
Yeah.
I just want to meet the person who wrote that speech.
And again, you guys know that I don't like to get like actual political, right? But holy crap, some of that stuff pretty relatable nowadays.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe old days, right? But I feel that especially this last few months, right? That a couple of those lines in there, I'm like, oof, that hits pretty close to home. But anyway, that's all I'll say about that. Regardless, of course, great acting, by the way. From see, I'm all blanks today. From Mon Mothma's actress, right? She's been doing great, don't get me wrong, the whole show, right? But this episode, just a roller coaster, right, of like emotions, going from I still got to keep up appearances to hey man, we need to bail, to what do you mean you're staying, to holy crap, you shot that dude or shot that lady in the face, to I gotta be a leader somehow still, crazy. So Vicente is saying that Dan Gilroy, nice, wrote that speech. Interesting.
Beautiful.
And how she delivered. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And she was on it, right? Like, making a clear and concise like speech. And then as soon as she says like, oh, like we're not doing good, we're not doing great. And the whole Senate just starts like boo and like, like trying to shut her down. And she just like did not, miss a beat and just kept going. And I was like, dang, that's good. That was a nice touch of realism, right? Of how it would actually be. And because it wasn't all perfect, it wasn't all quiet and everybody's listening or anything like that. Like she had to fight to get the words out there even, right? Because people are like
fighting her emotions and she's fighting a crowd that's like heavily influenced by the Empire to be
very much so, right?
I love how Bale was just staring at her with such honor. Like he wanted to
he's like, but I know
he wanted to root so bad, but he was like, I can't. He's like, but I'll just stare at her with such amaze.
And he does like this the smallest like smirk, right? Like,
yeah.
I'll say, how about him using the Empire's rule against them to give her the floor? which I was like, that's the most political bomb thing I've ever seen. Like,
Yeah, dude.
in
Was mind you,
article section 7 of point 3, paragraph 2.
Yeah.
Like, God dang.
because he got the floor because that other senator gave it to him also, right? So it's like that, that technicality. He found a way to,
That dude said emergency. Like, and
exactly.
that's
It's
what
like
he
he
was
said it
saying. Like,
several times.
so technically, when somebody says there's an emergency,
Yeah.
we can use this article for this over
Exactly.
here. Bang, bang.
You
Yeah.
can't stop me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. I thought it was also pretty cool how everybody before her, right, was spinning the story, right? Like they're like,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
had, valiant imperial heroes that fell yesterday, at the hands of these criminals. That one is like, oh yeah, I had one citizen, that went down in the plaza. I'm like, dude, like, what are you talking about? And he's like, oh, so I tell you, like, what happens when it's like you're one citizen? I'm like, dude, it's one citizen. Like, it's hard, like it sucks, but I'm like, it's one. Like, So I thought it was hilarious how he's trying to blow it out. Like, no, I had this one person out of my entire, sector that was killed, and it's outrageous and it's a tragedy. And I'm like, dude, they had like 100,000, dead on that planet yesterday.
We will have 30 days of mourning.
Yeah, right, exactly. For this one dude. So I actually like,
they'll make a statue out of him.
Exactly.
The
one guy. Yeah.
I think we should all get T-shirts that said "I survived Gorman" because that was just insane to watch.
Yeah, it was a great sequence for sure. It was great, just how do you call it? Like cinematography, right? Like we said, the way they use the different shots and just jumping us over from face to face within the crowd, like all of that stuff was great.
It's funny watching Celebration. Ahmad Best had said in his panel that he was like, Lucasfilm does listen. So it's like, I feel like for like the past couple of years, everybody has complained about getting better writers for Star Wars. And look what we've just been getting. We've been getting served every day with what writing does for Star Wars.
And on that note, the last thing that I want to touch on is basically the end of the last episode, right? Which, okay, so after all this crazy turmoil, right, Andor is like, you know what, man, like this has been a lot, right? And it's like I'm kind of out, I'm kind of done with all this. He gets back to Yavin, as we said, without Mon Mothma, right? Because again, they have a plan for that. So he gets back. He's like, hey, can y'all patch up this KX unit that I stole? And he immediately goes home, right? And Biggs is there. And he's like, hey, babe, you know what? Good news. I'm out. I'm going to talk to, General, some white guy in the morning. I'm going to tell him I'm out. There's not going to be any complications. I love you.
That should be the shirt.
Yeah, I was going to say.
We should get a badge that says General, that white guy.
So I'll eventually look up his name.
There's a lot of white people on the show, Jose.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, but he's up there. He's General. And so, and I thought the scene got awkward, right? Because Biggs is like super silent, right? And finally Cassian is like
what's
dude,
up?
what the heck, like I'm offering you everything you ever wanted in like a silver platter, and all of a sudden, like, why, you don't got nothing to say? Like,
he's like, I just want to be a husband.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I'm finally telling you that I'm done with all this crap that's put us through the ringer. Like, it's just you and me, and we're gonna be fine, and we're gonna be out of here, and we're gonna be happy, and blah blah. And she's like, that's nice, and he's like, what the heck, like, he's like, what, you don't believe? And she's like, no, I do. She's like, I really do, right? And she's like, yeah, like, great. And he's like, all right, I guess, yeah, exactly, thumbs up. And so
Poor Cassian was the girl who's getting dissed in high school.
Yeah, right, seriously.
It was like roles reversed.
Yeah. And so they go to sleep. Cassian wakes up and she's gone, right?
I had a feeling.
And remember we talked about it last week. Like, she cannot stay, right?
Yeah.
Now, we all said she was gonna get, like, off,
Killed.
which, by the way, there's still time for that. But the consensus was, yeah, imagine, yeah. The consensus was that she cannot stay by Cassian's side, right? And Cassian cannot be effective with her, right? When they're together. So here it is, right? So basically, in a nutshell, Biggs records a goodbye, saying, "Hey, I love you. I want to be with you, but the rebellion, is more important, right?" So she's like,
Choose the
"I'm
cause.
deciding for the both of us. I'm out, right? You got to do what you got to do because we've sacrificed so much that we need to win, right? Like we cannot not win, right? Like at this point, we've given up everything." She's like, "So, sorry, leaving. I'll find you later. If you don't get blown up by the Death Star or anything, we'll hook up again."
And that's why he is so freaking angry.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because she just left him.
Exactly, right. To add to everything he's done and everything he's had to go through, people he has to lie to, all that stuff. And he finally thought, he's like, I'm gonna have like, my reward, quote unquote, right? Like I'm gonna be done with this war. I'm gonna be with the woman that I love, and we're gonna be in peace. Nope. So you get nothing but the war. Like that's it. That's your whole life.
The fact that she said in that video, like, "Oh, if I would have told you this last night, you would have convinced me or something, would have talked me out of it." It was like, you were so calculated in planning this. It like, honestly, it was, I would, this is the only time I didn't like Bix.
Yeah.
It was,
yeah.
It was almost to the point where that awkwardness, you're kind of like thinking, was she thinking like, damn, like you made it back. I was kind of hoping you didn't make it back, because then
that too,
it would make things a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
I also think what the healer said weighed very heavily on her decision.
Yeah.
Because I think she herself knows he's important. And then for somebody not knowing who he is, and that small interaction, whatever vision or what she had, she knew that he was extremely important.
Yeah.
And so that's just weighs even more on her. Which we got to hate somebody, and for her to do that to Andor, but we know that it has to be done in order to get us to where we need to go.
Yeah.
You kind of take it with a grain of salt. But I'm with you. I was like, man, she did him dirty. Like,
everything,
like,
right?
it was the first time I disliked her character. I was like, Bix.
Yeah. I
want to call you something else.
Very close to Bix.
It almost
very,
so
very
close.
I was like, it goes with Bix.
Yeah.
Like I paused it and I was like, did she just dump my little Mexican man?
I know. I'm like, come on, man.
Yep.
Finally, the Mexican gets the girl, and nope.
And then you see him running. I was like, oh,
dude, like
my
the
heart.
Yeah,
she's gone. Like she dipped out. She probably took the first flight out. Was like, this man
and
sleep.
sure enough, right?
Yeah, she's probably like, I'm gonna give him some, let him pass out.
Exactly, and then I'm out. Yeah,
cold-blooded.
I was really hoping that he didn't catch her. Like I was really hoping they didn't do like the, oh, there goes the transport, like the last second. And I was like,
no,
I'm glad he got there. Like, no, she's been gone.
No,
like,
she left 3 hours ago, bro. Like you woke up late.
She got a coffee, a donut. She took off.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just the way like they panned out with the camera while he was laying down. I was like, oh, she's gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
She left him. And then he was just like this. I was like, oh.
The one thing I kind of was hoping when she's doing her little speech, right? It's like, if I would have let you like if you would have quit, to be with me and stuff, and then she says, I could never forgive myself, and I thought she was gonna say, and I could never forgive you, this would have been a deal breaker for our relationship, right? Like if you actually, after doing everything, if you actually just up and quit. She didn't, right? She just says, whatever, like I couldn't live with it like by myself and stuff, or myself and all that. But I was like, oof, if they dropped that line in there, I was like, that'd be pretty cold.
Yeah.
But my man got a consolation prize. He got a murder droid, as a best friend. So hey, you lose a chick, you gain a droid, it balances out, right?
He said, my man.
Yeah, so which is funny because it's like within the same like 10 minutes, right? Like he's like, oh, she left. He's like, damn it. He's like, hey man, by the way, we're about to power your murder droid, so You want to come see?" He's like,
I
"All
want to
right,
make a
moving
buddy.
on." Yeah,
He's like, I lost my
yeah,
droid.
exactly. He's like, "Oh, cool." Yeah,
I
and
love
he's
how
like,
he looks at the rebel guardsman, and he was like, he looks at him and he goes, "Give me
"Give
your
me a
gun.
weapon." Yeah,
Give me
the
your
dude's
weapon."
like looking at him. Is like,
He was like, "Do
"Come
you
on,
want
man."
goggles? No, give me your
No,
gun.
he's like, "Just
No,
give me
I
the
need a
damn
gun.
blaster."
Give me
Yeah.
the damn gun."
Yeah.
And they're like, "You might want to step back. Just power him
He's
on.
like, "Just turn it on." Yeah,
Just turn it on."
yeah. And then finally the thing that we've been all waiting for like 3 years at this point.
Ugh.
Um, we get what does he say? He's like, I'm sorry if I have offended you.
I've
Like, I
offended you.
apologize. He's like, but if I haven't, would you mind not pointing that thing at me? Like, like, dude, I just woke up with a blaster to my face. Like, what the heck? Um, I was like, all right, that's nice. That's nice. That voice, right? I mean, Alan
Yep.
Tudyk finally. Um, and yeah,
I
that
love him.
was the end. So so RAP to all of the Gormans except that one chick that left with Wilmon. They actually made it out. And RAP to Cyril, right?
Oh.
RAP to Didra's main squeeze. He got
R.I.P.
taken
to
out.
the rookie who got shot by his own.
Yeah, man, he
guy.
was barely there, right? He
Mhm.
finally made it out of the farm, and this is what happens.
He's like, hey, I joined the Imperial Army. I got dental
Exactly.
insurance. I've got
Yeah,
life
exactly,
insurance.
right? And then
Getting a paycheck.
bam.
This is awesome. Boop.
Yeah,
I know
and
insurance,
blaster to the back of the
insurance.
face. Yeah. Yeah, RIP to our good old, driver. He was just doing his job. He wasn't very bright, but he probably took on those 2 jobs, just to support his family, because being a driver probably doesn't pay that much. And yeah, RIP to that one mean lady from the ISB that was undercover. She took a blaster to the face like a champ. So
No, she deserved it.
yeah, she totally did.
Oh, the
We
way
know-
she took out the Andor. I mean, the Andor.
yeah,
thing,
Organa's
Organa's guy.
yeah,
He's like,
I know,
let me
right?
see that. What are you doing
Yeah.
over here? Let me see
Exactly.
that.
She's like, "Oh yeah, here you go," and boom. And she still like kind of like hugged him, right? And she's like, "Pew!"
Yeah, cradled him and
Like, oof,
go to
yeah,
sleep.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, we know her all of like 12 seconds, but we did not like her. So
It
good
was just a
riddance.
lot of casualties. That's all.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Oh,
There's a
yeah.
lot for
A lot.
sure. We'll see. Who's next? Who's next is last arc. So we are down to what, one BBY, right? Which again, at the end, it'll be basically Rogue One territory.
Yes, but we're supposed to see a different ending of it that is going to make us appreciate Rogue One even more.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
what the hell is it?
like I said, I feel that in this arc they halfway achieved that, right? Like we got a lot of nice connective tissue, right, for Rogue One. So yeah, same here. I'm very curious what we're gonna see. Are we gonna see Jyn Erso being abandoned by Saw Gerrera, right, in a flashback? Because by this point it already happened, right? It's happened a few years back at this point. So are we actually gonna see what happened between them? Are we gonna get to see
The building of the Death Star?
Yeah, right. Are we gonna get to see Krennic, finally show up with Galen Erso and be like, "Hey, man, like, this is this has to be completed. Like, there's no more options."
Them just casually leaving the Death Star plans in places that are
I know,
easily
right?
accessible.
Until somebody picks it up. Yeah, are we gonna get to see some cameos from Rogue One cast?
Will we see more Luthen, and will we see the end of Luthen?
I was gonna say, right, because
Yeah, I don't want Luthen to die though.
I know, but at the same time, he's been such a major player that we would have known that character, right, before. So it's not that he can't survive. I'm not saying he can't survive, but I'm saying if he does, it's gonna be hard to weave him into the stories that we already know, right? He is a shadow operative, so you could go that route and keep him in the shadows forever.
Mhm.
But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Saw Gerrera takes him out. If he sacrifices himself to save the cause somehow, right?
He
Yeah.
gets Bix killed and Andor kills him.
Yep, very much so, right? He can't have loose ends out there. So Biggs does know a lot. She was at Yavin, right, for a while, so she knows exactly what's going on with the rebellion.
Dang. Bix gets caught again. Luthen goes to rescue or take out.
Or take her out, right? She can rescue, or he cannot pull off the rescue. So he's like, "I'm sorry, but we both gotta go out. We're too dangerous to be left alive." Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's still
Neil's like,
Neil's like,
no.
I hate you guys so much.
No, because I'm already like mentally preparing for next week to like remove off my makeup. I'm not gonna have any mascara on, and I'm gonna sit here just like Kenobi style, holding my face. Like I feel like I'm gonna like we're gonna get hit with some crazy crap.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm gonna record my whole entire reaction.
You should, yeah.
We all should. Why don't we do that? Why don't for next week, so then we can show it on the final segment.
Yeah.
Everybody record their reactions, and then we'll see who acts like.
Yeah, let's do that. But yeah,
set up like a whole tripod area, different camera angles,
different lights. Yeah,
different lights. I'm gonna put like my one GoPro camera here, another camera here. I'm gonna be like, babe, let me use your phone.
Exactly.
You're gonna get me from every angle.
Just stand right there for the next 3 hours. Don't worry about it.
Honestly, like, who is it? It's the Patterson cut.
Yeah.
How the hell is he gonna like? I know he likes to make shows like into Patterson cuts. I want to challenge him to do Andor.
Yeah.
Like just do season 2 as a Patterson cut. Like, how are you gonna do that?
Yeah,
make
there's
this
a lot.
whole make all these episodes like a movie. Like make it 2.5 hours long.
Yeah. He does great work, by the way. Shout out to him.
He's probably editing it right now as we're speaking.
Yeah, he's probably halfway into it already. But yes, so we will catch you next week, right? Unless something changes next week, next Wednesday, same time, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, for the last arc of Andor, season 2, the final season, basically, which again, it is supposed to change our perspective regarding Rogue One. So very much looking forward to it. Not looking forward to it being done. But man, what a ride. What a ride. I feel that this week a lot of people got turned to Andor again, right? And so yeah, just a testament to what you were saying, Ilda, just the great writing, right? Great acting, to be honest, too. Everybody's firing on all cylinders here. So let us know in the comments, what are your predictions for the final arc, the last 3 episodes of Andor? Who do you think is actually going to make it out alive? We know Andor is, right? But not that many people that we see here in the show made it out to Rogue One. So let us know in the comments. If you are catching this on the replay, let us know on the comments.
What if they replay for us again at the end? Rogue One again.
Imagine
like the death scene. I'm like,
why would you do that? Yeah,
why would you do that again?
Yeah,
I don't want to see him die.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, thank you so much to everybody for joining us, for sticking around here on a recount of this arc. If you haven't, go watch it. If you watched it, go watch it again. It's definitely good stuff. So thanks again. We will catch you on next week again for our review of the last arc. Make sure you are checking us out over on social media: Appetite for Collectibles, D Dad Vader, and General Kenobi's Bunker. So
yes,
thanks again, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.
Peace out.